Hello everyone, welcome to From the Void Podcast, a show all about Eternal and our experiences with the game. I'm Navillus, one of your hosts, and with me, as always, is my co-host and good friend, BassonBuffoon. How are you, sir?
Hey bud, I'm having a good morning. It's like Christmas comes every Thursday with the From the Void Podcast. I just look forward to it every Wednesday night.
I know, we get to chill and just talk, and talk about this game that we...
It's the one day a week I pretend like I have friends.
Yes. This is just like, this is like the one day a week that Bassoon and I are friends. No, I'm just kidding. Like, we do it for the show. But no, Bassoon, why don't you introduce our guests?
Oh, man. Okay, so today's guest is an accomplished competitive player, a sometime streamer, the innovator of putting the words TeamRankstar in front of team decks on Eternal Warcry. He invented that hot tech. We have Monstrum in the building. What's up, Monstrum?
It's going good. I will say, I don't know if I would consider myself the innovator who did that. I maybe popularized it a little bit more than I should have.
I remember one time in a Discord conversation, somebody said that the way TeamRankstar puts like their team name in front of like every deck that you guys have ever registered for anything, somebody was like, "Man, that's lame," and you were like, "That's a personal attack to me, Monster," and I'm never forgiving you for saying that against my family.
Yeah, no, we've definitely stepped away from that, but but yeah, I mean, I think some people blew it out of proportion a bit, but whatever.
No, it was funny. I am all on board. It's buzz marketing. It all worked.
Exactly. I was going to say, speaking of marketing and stuff, check out the TeamRankstar jersey.
Oh my God! You're shilling. We haven't even been online for 5 minutes, and we're shilling.
What do you mean shilling?
Do we get the Monstrum on the back?
Oh yeah. I was gonna say you can definitely.
Oh my God! The underscores and everything. Audio only listeners are missing out, dude.
But yeah, no, I actually totally wear this out sometimes, just normally, and you'd be surprised at how many kind of weird looks I get from people.
What?
I'm just like, you wear jerseys of people you've never met in your life before, and I'm the weird person for wearing my own jersey.
My own jersey. Okay, what's your number?
I don't have a number on this jersey, but if I was to pick a number, it'd be 16.
Okay.
16 is my favorite number.
Okay. That was Peyton
it.
Manning's number when he played for Tennessee, so I'm behind it. I'm all for it.
Peyton Manning.
Listen, I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. There's only so much you're allowed to say against him here.
I was going to say, I mean, you basically can't speak bad about like God and Peyton Manning.
I'm surprised there's not a Peyton Manning statue in Knoxville yet, like downtown by the Neyland Stadium. I live in Knoxville as well, Monstrum. So, I don't say anything about like Tom Brady's better than Peyton Manning. Don't do that. Anyway, so let's go on. Bassoon, how was your week in Eternal?
Here's how my week was in Eternal, Navillus.
Mm-hmm.
No one cares. Because I have important news to share. I didn't add this to the show notes because I didn't want you to tell me not to talk about it on the show.
No.
But now we're doing it and you're stuck. We're beefing. We have podcast beef. Navillus, did you know? There's a new podcast on the block.
Oh, I did not know this.
And they stole our format.
What?
Of two white guys talking about Eternal. The Eternal Struggle is a new Eternal podcast that's out this week. And you know what the first question the host asked his co-host was?
What?
How was your week? Are you kidding me? The Eternal Struggle? This is ridiculous. I can't believe we're getting our format bit right from our right from beneath our noses.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to listen to this. If they go the exact like format that we do, I'm gonna file for a copyright infringement and And no, I don't know.
So my former friends, now mortal enemies, J-Mang and Tall Shark and Handsome.
Whoa.
If you go on YouTube and search The Eternal Struggle, I want you to go watch their podcast and think about our podcast the whole time you're watching it and realize how similar they are and how they have stolen our intellectual property. And then I want you to very passive-aggressively press the thumbs up button on that video. That is The Eternal
Yes.
Struggle.
Yes.
As they say, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so...
Remember, when you click that thumbs up on that video, though, do it passive-aggressively.
Well, Bassoon, I welcome our new competitors, so that means, like... No, they're great people. Tall Shark and Handsome.
Don't hedge. This is a blood feud, Navillus. I'm continuing this.
I'm trying to like build them up and everything before I knock them down. So it's just
you're okay. I'm just being like a meathead anger guy.
You're just going in,
bronzing them.
Yes. Get them in a lull of safety, a sense of like gratitude. No, I will have to check that out. I did not know we had a competitor to our show that's taken our format and everything else. I'm surprised they haven't asked if they wanted our notes. Just kind of like.
Once spies start showing up in the Google Doc, we've been fully infiltrated.
Exactly. Like, who's this shark that's in here? No.
I was gonna say right now there's only a dolphin, so.
Oh man. So besides podcast wise, game wise, what have you been doing? Anything cool in the game?
No, I've actually been tryharding this month, which is like going mixed results. I'm trying to stay as close to top 100 as possible so I can push for it at the end of the month. Been playing Kenedans, been playing FJS, been playing Skycrag Aggro. Topical. That's foreshadowing, viewers. I'm ranked around 150 right now, which is this early in the month nothing to be impressed about.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Monstrum, what about you? How's your week in Eternal been?
It could be better. I've been losing far more often than I would like to say. I'm just doing the ladder grind right now, testing out different decks, and finding out that most decks that I pick up, I don't like. So, but I've been having a lot of fun though when I do start actually winning. But it's definitely, I'm still struggling. I'm not even in Masters yet, so. But having a good time.
The month is young. It is a short one this month. We're as of today 25% of the way through the month.
Oh geez.
Wow. Oh man.
Yeah, I wanted to actually power through in like the first couple days. But I got through got through gold in a day easy. And then I hit diamond and then it just got weird. I played against really wild and different decks, and the meta keeps changing, or I keep running into pockets of like 10 aggro decks in a row or 10 peaks decks in a row, so it's been kind of weird for me to try to find something to combat that.
Oh man.
Yeah. I kind of hear you. I'm almost to diamond. I've just been kind of messing around with seeing what I wanted to play, and just I was playing this Yeti deck. That was kind of fun. That I think I only dropped one game through like one rank, so that was kind of fun, just blowing out people with Yetis. It was fun. So Bassoon, you'd be proud of me. And
you mean the Yeti deck that has Oni Ronins, Dusk Raiders, and Merchants?
Yes, and then everything else is just Yetis. Yes, I know the three most important cards were Skycrag, and then but yeah, so it was fun. It was making some pillow forts and everything else. It was great. It was so. But now I've switched to like Shadow Primal Justice deck that has Mocto and some other crazy stuff in it, and so it's just kind of like it's kind of fun just messing around with that. I've been climbing with that, so I'll stick with it until it does not work. And so, like I said, I got blown out yesterday by Cold Blood on my Mocto, and so I was a sad panda. So there you go. But yeah, so I've been enjoying it, just messing around. About to start League, because just kind of like when I don't want to play ranked, I just want to be a little more casual, so doing that. So yeah, so that's been our weeks in Eternal. Let's jump into the news. All right, the news this week, well, there's not a lot. So let's just go into the couple things that we do have. Chapter 27, Price of Freedom, has come out. So if you like reading the lore, this is for you. Go to direwolfdigital.com. You can find the article there. So it's a good read. Check it out. Also,
I do not like reading the lore, but I did originally read that as the Prince of Freedom, and I thought like, oh, I wonder who that is, and I just right this second, just now, realized it was not the Prince of Freedom.
No, it's not. I'm sorry, It's not the Prince of Freedom. It is the Price of Freedom.
That title is still up for grabs.
Yes. So we need to have a title, Prince of Freedom, one time just for Bassoon. He'd be like, which prince? Okay, there we go. All right. Also, the top 100 leaderboards came out. Also, so if you want to see if you made the top 100 and ranked or draft, go check it out. And I believe the top person was Through the Ages and ranked. And so and I'm trying to figure out who's in draft. I'm sorry. It's right next to it. My bad.
Isomorphic. It's always isomorphic. Why even bother reading the list?
I'm not reading it. 30 Ages and Isverg for draft. So congratulations, both of you. Just want to give shout-outs.
Oh my god, it actually wasn't isomorphic? I didn't read the list.
No. Isomorphic was 8 on ranked, and I'm sorry. You see some monsters?
Say they've dropped off. Jeez.
I don't see Isomorphic.
Iso must be out of gold or something. There's no way Isomorphic is in the top 100.
Isomorphic is 65 in draft. Okay, so there you go.
Wow.
8 in ranked and 65th in draft. I mean, there you go.
I'm gonna say they are saving their gold for the ECQ.
So yes. So yeah. Anyway, so there is the top 100. Congratulations to everyone who made it. And then we have this week the Eternal Championship qualifier. Price of Freedom, not Prince of Freedom. And
the winner will be crowned the Prince of Freedom.
There you go. And so that takes place. So if you're listening to this, it's either already taken place or it's about to take place. So Monstrum, are you going to take place in the ECQ this weekend?
Yes, I 100% am. I've competed in all of them so far. I've only gotten one top 64 finish in, I think it was the second one. But I've just missed on tiebreakers twice already.
Oh, that's a bad. I also have done that. It is frustrating.
Yeah, it's really sad also because I get really frustrated when I don't see how tiebreakers are determined. That's kind of frustrating sometimes, but
they announced it. We actually know now.
Yeah, but I wish there was something that I could like physically see. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like it's also kind of weird that apparently tiebreakers are determined by like how long someone's been playing. So if you play against someone who's only played 2 games, it actually looks worse for you than someone who's been through like 10 or 15.
Yeah. Their tiebreakers are determined by their record at the time that you played them. So the one of the ECQs I actually got, I actually lost on tiebreakers. I actually played Tony G, a former guest of the podcast, who actually made like top 10 in the leaderboard. But when I played him, he was actually 0-2. So I won that match, and I put him at 0-3, and then he went on some insane like 20-game winning streak. But for the tiebreakers, it looks like I just beat up an 0-2 idiot. So it was like he was useless to me. He actively hurt me.
Yeah, I kind of wish that would change, but I don't want to complain too much.
Well, it sucks because the way it's set up now, it's just objectively worse to play your games on Friday than it is to play them on like Saturday morning.
Yeah, I've started to in the last one. I actually did it in between playing in the ETS, in between games, or right after the ETS. I would just jam a ton of games, which is not something I would necessarily recommend for your health, but yeah,
that's insane. The best way to do it. So Jay in chat says that it should be overall record. There is a. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but the problem with that is that once people get to 11 losses, they just stop playing, right? So if it's overall record, you're kind of beholden to people finishing their runs or not finishing their runs, right? And I don't know which is better or which is not, but there is a trade-off there.
Yeah, and like if you ever see like Magic the Gathering, I think they do overall record because if you go like if you had go X2 or if you go X3, people usually just drop out because you're not going to make the top 8 if you have 3 losses in a tournament. So once it's like, once you hit that, if you have 2 losses, you keep playing, but once you hit 3, you're just like, it's not, just drop out, save your time. So I understand that. So you want to keep people playing. All right. Anything else you want to say about this? I know, Bassoon, you're going to be playing in this, right?
Yeah, I am almost certainly going to be playing Kennedans unless I chicken out.
And so
it's just the best deck that I am comfortable playing.
And so Jay said in chat that Magic uses opponent's win percentage. So,
yeah, opponent's match win percentage.
Yeah, opponent's match percentage. So
that's just like standard Switch tiebreaker. That's what the ETS uses as well.
Yep. All right, let's move on. So there's things that can be improved, but they're working on it, and it's you can do it from the comfort of your house. So I'm not going to complain that much, and so which is nice. All right, let's move into our topic, which is all about you, Monstrum. Tell us about yourself. How did you come up with your name? I am Monstrum. What's about that?
So I think I was like 15 or 16. I'm going to tell you what my previous gamer tag was, and I am embarrassed.
I bet you it has a 420 in it.
No, it does. It does not. It was before I Am Monstrum. It was Winking Wesley.
That is pretty embarrassing, actually.
Winking Wesley.
Yeah,
BassonBuffoon just told you that name is embarrassing. By the way.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was like I was trying to in high school. I did the really dumb and easily make funnable thing of winking way too much because I thought I was cool.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like not ironically, not like sarcastically. You winking was like your go-to move.
Yeah, I've grown out of that. But yeah, that was a rough part of my life. But yeah, so I kind of got like nicknamed that, and so like I just used as my gamer tag for a while. But I was like, oh, I one day might want to do like YouTube. At the time, I was playing a lot of like Call of Duty and stuff. So I was like, ooh, I kind of wanted like a cool name, and so I was looking around in Latin actually for a kind of a cool sounding word, and Monstrum struck out to me. It just sounded cool to me. And in Latin, it means like beast or obviously monster. And so in basketball, people have called me beast before because or monster because I'm really small, but I fight for like way bigger people than I am, which is not always a good thing. But so yeah, I just saw that and it's just kind of stuck. I really like it. So.
Cool. What about your card game history? Tell us about that. How did you get into card games? How far back do you go with that?
Well, I wish I could say I wish I could say I was one of those people who've been playing card games since they were a wee child. But that was not the case. My first actual card game was Hearthstone back in the beta.
Mm-hmm.
I played Hearthstone back in the beta forever ago. And I played that like a little while. I never put like money into it, so I never really got any like super sweet decks. I think I'd like Warlock, Zoo, and some stuff like that. So not anything too crazy. And then eventually, I actually got introduced and learned how to play Magic. And once I learned how to play Magic, I was addicted pretty much right away. Like as soon as I learned, I spent a lot of money on Magic in the next couple months.
It's that black hole, it just keeps taking the money,
Oh yeah, exactly. And so after about like 6 months of just me playing like casually kitchen top or whatever, I really enjoyed playing. I really enjoy playing like competitive style games. So I got into playing competitive Magic, and I was just mainly like a PPTQ grinder. So not anything too fantastic. I've got like a pro point. I've beat a couple pro players on the GP once. That was fun. So not anything too crazy. But during my PBTQ grind, someone introduced me to Eternal that we were kind of playing like in between rounds and stuff. And I was hooked. I loved being able to play it on the go. I liked it better than Hearthstone by a super long shot. And I've been enjoying a lot. I joined. It was like the end of July. Yeah, I wrote it down. July 31st of 2017. So I think it was like right after set 2 dropped. And I've been playing since then. And then I've only started playing competitively in Eternal. I think maybe it's been a year now. So
Cool.
enjoying it a lot so far.
Awesome. Let me ask you real quick, okay? This is not a show notes. What is your favorite Eternal card? I'm just curious.
Flamestoker. Flamestoker or Statuary Maiden.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Good choices. All right. You also do YouTube stuff, right? Deck techs and everything. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I've been. I used to stream a bit here and there, and unfortunately, just due to I work overnights, and then also I'm going to school too. Streaming regularly was just too much of a thing. Kind of too hard to do, so I started up doing like trying to make like YouTube videos because I can kind of do that, kind of just like spread peppered throughout my day. So I'm trying to like post like a YouTube video like deck tech or me going through like the ECL tournament and recording my games or something like that. I try to do that. I'm trying to do it like once a week or something like that. So it's not anything like super big, but I'm enjoying doing that a lot.
All right, awesome. Yes, I will have to check it out and subscribe and everything. Everyone, look for I Am Monstrum on YouTube and subscribe, help him out. So,
does that have the underscores on YouTube as well?
Yes, please.
Yes, I_am_monstrum. There you go. That's what you need to look for. So, I am looking forward to checking your stuff out. I think I've watched a couple of your videos. You do a very good job. So, keep it up, man. Keep it up. So, all right, let's move into our next topic because this kind of goes. It's going to kind of go into deck of the week, but one of our listeners asked to kind of break down matchups between, like, for aggro, mid-range, control, and combo. So this week we're going to talk about aggro and basically how to play an aggro deck. If you're facing another aggro deck, if you're facing a mid-range, control, combo, we're going to talk about it. So, Bassoon, do you want to head us off on talking about aggro since you have some experience with this, with your Skycrag decks and everything else. I know Kennedin's is different, but I'm talking about your Yetis and everything else. But
yeah. In my opinion, aggro is the best archetype of deck to learn a game or learn a format playing. Just because the game has some percent of game, or the deck will have some percent of games where you just win because your hand is amazing, right? And then like, eventually, as you play more and more games with it, you're like, oh, I lose to this 4-drop, and I have to play around this 4-drop, and you eventually like learn the cards in the format and how to play around them. But you also are usually going to have, unless you're just playing a bad deck, you're usually going to have somewhere around a 50% win rate. So it's like not discouraging. Mm-hmm. That's I think that's a good starting point to talking about aggro, right?
So so let's talk about this matchup. If you're an aggro deck and you're facing, it can be either Okano or Skycrag. Those are the two most popular aggro decks right now. So if you're facing either the mirror or one of them, what I'm trying to say is like, what is this mindset you need to go in a game once you realize this aggro and you're aggro? How do you need to look at that matchup? What do you think when you're playing it from your perspective?
Well, if I'm Skycrag and I'm playing against Rakano aggro, you have to be aware that like the things you have to hold on to your torches and to go as wide as possible to play around all the lifesteal that Rakano has. Right? They've got Hojens, they've got whirling duos, and so like normally they'll play down. What's the 3/2 for 2? Called sharpshooter.
Yeah, sharpshooter.
They'll play that down. That's a very torchable unit, right? Especially when they play that Warhelm on it. Just torch it. Get rid of that guy. But I think in general, if depending on what the rest of the board looks like, if you're Skycrag, you're gonna hold that torch until they play the whirling duo, until they play. Something that you're gonna have a harder time getting through than a 2 health idiot.
I think it also goes to say when you're playing against an aggro deck, also if you're playing the mirror, sometimes you become more of the control player. It depends on your hand. If you have more removal than units, and there you kind of want to just, because aggro players, if they have a hand, they're just gonna be dumping out units, and if you have answers for all that, eventually they're gonna run out of answers, and hopefully you can throw some answers down to turn the tide of the game. So I think it turns into sometimes an attrition. So like you said, keep your removal for, and know the deck too. I think that's important. What do you think, Jared? It's like knowing the deck of the opponent is really important to know what they're gonna play. If they have like, a red influence up, 1 power, there's could likely be a torch, and also there's signals for it too, because when you pass a turn, there's a pause and stuff like that, and to look for those things. What do you think, Jared?
Yeah, I think the big thing is this is like a term used in Magic a lot, and it's a question that I think still has quite a lot of meaning in Eternal. You ask the question, who's the beatdown, which basically just means, are you the one that's wanting to be on the front foot, or are you going to be kind of the more reactive deck? So I think that's a very important question, aggro versus aggro. And as BassonBuffoon was mentioning, you got to save your signal flares, your torches, your removal for specific units that like either lifesteal or something you can't fight through. So you got to be aware of what your actual game plan to win is.
Mm-hmm. All right, Monstrum, what about mid-range? What is, when it's a mid-range deck, because we have quite a few of those in the meta right now, well, what is your thought process with that? What are you looking out for with mid-range?
So usually for me, it really depends on which kind of like style of mid-range it is. I usually, if you're playing against for instance, a deck that plays Sandstorm Titan, you basically just want to push out as much damage before they get their big threats down that can be problematic. And then also you save your removal for when it's going to be most beneficial for you. And also you kind of want to go wide to some extent, typically against mid-range decks, unless they're playing Harsh Rule in their deck, which I think is played a little too often in mid-range decks, but I digress. But basically, you kind of want to go wide, and sometimes you have to lose a couple of units along the way to just push through damage.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
I do want to say about the topic of going wide and just pushing through as much damage as possible through a Sandstorm Titan. When we say mid-range, every mid-range deck right now plays either Vara or Titan, or God forbid both. But so if you're playing an aggro deck, if you're playing a mid-range archetype, you are almost always in 100% of cases going to deal with one of those two units. But a lot of times, aggro deck, you'll push through as much damage around a Titan as possible, and then they'll play down the second Titan or whatever, and you lose, and you'll as a new aggro player, you think oh, I did that wrong. But no, sometimes you do everything right and you just still lose. It's a card game. So if you're learning the game, and that's a situation that you find yourself in, learn from it. Try to think kind of objectively, did I do something wrong? Did I miss damage, or was I in a situation where I didn't have to go all in as I did? But if you've assessed the situation in such a way where you just have to go all in every single time, and you do, and you still lose, that's not because you made the wrong choice. It's just because card games aren't fair sometimes.
I think it's very important, like you said, because almost if they have Shadow, they're playing Vara, most likely. They're just probably 90%. So you need to have an answer for that. If you don't, you will most likely lose. So that is facing mid-range. That's the number one thing. They're okay, if I'm aggro versus mid-range, what do I need to know? I'm make sure you keep the removal for Vara. Because that will come down most likely on turn 4, because they always have it on turn 4, so, yeah. And everything. All right, what about aggro versus control? What is the thought process on that? We'll start with you, Monstrum. Go ahead.
Usually, the first thing I go into control is you want to empty your hand as much as possible, with the mindset though that you don't want to put out too many units that are weak to whatever kind of sweepers or removal the opponent is playing. So usually if you know you're playing against control, you want to play out, like if you're a Skycrag, you want to play out like your Aegis threats and stuff like that, so it doesn't get immediately wiped and it kind of 2-for-1s your opponent. You don't want to play too many units into like a Hailstorm or a Harsh Rule. You just want to be able to be applying pressure, but you don't necessarily have to just dump your complete hand. You can definitely keep units in your hand to refill the board after they play like a Harsh Rule or Hailstorm or whatever. So it's just about applying pressure, but not going too over.
You do have to make sure that you're applying enough pressure that they have to use those cards, though. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
is the thing.
It's a fine line to walk, making sure you have enough pressure, and that also comes with experience to some extent. You know how much pressure you need. Like, is this 5 points of damage on board? Is that enough pressure or not? It's a lot of experience and kind of just knowing the opponent's deck and what they can do.
I always try and control. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to work. I rather them, in a sense, 2-for-1 me, and with like just 2 minions that are 3-for-1 or 4-for-1. I would rather be applying pressure with 2 minions, because if they use like a Harsh Rule or a Hailstorm on 2 minions, then the next turn I can throw 2 more minions out and keep applying pressure. I'd rather that happen than have 3 or 4 minions out and then get wiped out and then have no minions. And if they play spot removal, like remove 1, I still have another minion I can apply pressure with the next turn. So always trying to keep at least 2 minions on the board, if possible, to keep always applying pressure. But I try not to...
Sure, but Dusk Raider and Grenadin Drone aren't the 2 units that are applying. Like, you have to make sure that you're forcing them to use their removal.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking about when you have, say, what's the 4-2 Yeti with charge? My mind
Champion of
Champion,
Fury.
Champion, the Champion of Fury, or if you have, other minions like that are a little bit beefier, that have higher attack, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm not talking about peeing in with 2 drones every turn. I'm not going to do that. So I will have more. If there's like 4 units and 2 of them are drones, I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Now, I do have to point out, you keep using this word that, I'm not familiar with it. Minions. What
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I come from a Magic background. Units. I'm sorry. You have to have 2 units. Okay, so there you go.
Well, minions.
They don't even call them minions in Magic.
That's Hearthstone. Okay, that's Hearthstone. Right, minions.
Sorry.
Tell you what. Okay, I played too many card games in my time. I'm gonna use it different. I've been dabbling in another one, and they called the units, whatever, something else. So if I call them some random type, whatever, you can make fun of me. It's okay. So
one last thing I do want to talk about is against a control matchup, or really any matchup that has removal, is if you have a choice, if you have units on the board and you have a choice between playing another unit and playing an attachment on a unit, like a weapon, play the weapon instead of, don't hold a weapon to play a unit if you're playing aggro.
That's true. And so, very good advice. All right, let's go into combo. Combo is interesting because it can be unit-based or it can be more of a controlled base. So it kind of can... So what do you think about that, Bassoon? We'll start with you. When you're aggro versus combo, when you realize...
you just win, dude. It's a combo deck.
It's a combo deck.
You just force them to have the combo, and if they have it, they win, and you win before they ever have their combo. Congratulations, you won a game of Eternal.
Okay, there you go. So, but I think, let me just ask, what are the combo decks in our meta right now? I'm trying to think.
I mean... Kenedin's is kind of a combo deck, like Xenon combo. Is you just win before they get their Titan down and pray they don't have the Titan and the... We've kind of hit a critical mass of big endurance idiots that aggro can't get through with Moonstone Vanguard. Titan into Moonstone Vanguard is a hell of a drug for aggro to get through.
Yes.
But there's not really like just strict full combo decks in the meta right now. I don't think Eternals devs like them existing very much.
Yeah, the most is the Vara unit based combo, but that doesn't take place till like turn 8 or 9, so it's kind of like, well, sometimes 5 or 6. Yeah. I forgot they have that one where you play a unit from your void. Anyway, but yeah, so like they said, just go face, beat them down, win. Be wary of Vara, because a lot of the combo decks that are played do have Vara, so, yeah.
But combo by definition removes interaction to interact with themselves in their own deck, so you're favored in, like, all-in combo matchup.
For sure.
Just apply as much pressure as possible and win the game.
All right, and since we're talking about aggro, actually Monstrum has brought us a TeamRankstar Skycrag Aggro deck that he wants to talk about. So there you go. Why don't you tell us about this deck?
Yeah, so basically this is the deck that me and a few of our other teammates brought to the ETS the other week. I mean, everyone's kind of seen Skycrag Aggro before, so I'm not going to belabor the point necessarily. But some of the big differences in this list versus some of the other ones is the addition of a Yeti, actually. So BassonBuffoon's going to be excited. But the addition of Chunk Chunk to the deck really made a big difference, especially with your opening hands. Because of the pledge ability on Chunk Chunk, it means you can keep way more opening hands because of the pledge ability. And also, its summon ability is actually fairly solid and can help you push through damage. Plus, also, for Signal Flare, you can kind of turn almost into a burn deck kind of late in the game. So it's a fairly simple Skycrag deck. One other addition that helped a lot was Ankle Cutter. After they buffed it, was it 2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago, something like that, to be able to kill endurance or lifesteal units. That actually made that card actually playable for once, and with all the lifesteal and endurance units out there that just murder Skycrag, that addition actually makes a big difference as well.
So, one other thing I want to point out about this deck that I really like, I think it's really clever. SPG's very own beautiful baby child Paradox has also been on this tech for a minute. Is the Signal Flares take so much stress off of the torches in the deck.
Signal Flare is definitely great. Sometimes you can just put it straight to face, but it also helps because so often if you're playing against a mid-range deck who plays Initiative Sands, so often you want to be able to just torch it, and then you have Signal Flare.
It sucks to have to torch it.
Exactly.
It sucks.
Exactly.
Because then they play Teacher.
Exactly. So Signal Flare comes in and saves the day in those kind of situations.
Mm-hmm. And I like when you have Howling Peak Smuggler out, Signal Flare becomes a torch with upside. So it's pretty nice. I've done that. I think I've played a little bit of this deck, and that was always really cool when I had that out. And I'm like, oh, I got a Signal Flare, 3 damage, sweet.
Yeah. Howling Peak Smuggler is a pretty sweet addition to this deck as well because it makes your torches kill Rizons and stuff like that. Plus, the Howling Peak Smuggler plus Torrential Downpour in the market. If you're in the aggro versus aggro matchup, that can totally swing games for sure.
So one big difference between your deck and the deck that Magikarp played, in fact, maybe the only difference, is he has cut 2 chunks and put in 2 Ixtun merchants. So you have 6 merchants here in Magikarp's deck. Who did what first, and what made you decide to just have the playset of the 1 merchant?
So, basically, this deck went through a few iterations. It first started off with the Platypus King. They posted a deck list, and they were doing really well with it. And so we all kind of took it, made some changes. Magikarp kind of made a second iteration where he added the 5th and 6th merchant. I tried that version, but to be honest, I didn't like it as much. It just didn't perform as well, generally speaking. Plus, Chunk Chunk just makes a big difference in your keepable hands, and so I think that was more valuable. Plus, also the body for Ixtun Merchant is just kind of meh, and so I just didn't like it a lot. It's fine, but it wasn't great in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then later, Ether Llama posted basically this version, and we've kind of made a couple little changes, but that's kind of where we switched down to just the 4 Howling Peak Spoilers.
Cool. That's awesome. All right, thanks for enlightening us as to how Team Rankstar's inner workings are panning out.
So yeah, this deck's pretty cool. This will be in the link will be in the show notes, so go check it out if you want to play it. It is awesome. So
it
yeah,
did top 8'd once, and I think GHP got 9th at the tournament last week, or did they both top 8?
Magikarp got in the top 8, and then GHP, he got 9th, which was really close.
GHP owns real estate in 9th place at the ECS. It's insane. He lives there rent free.
It's true. And actually, the whole team, to be honest, actually did fairly decently with the deck. There were 2 of our teammates who had losing records with it, but one of them was Jonah, and he went 2-2 drop. He kind of tilts out a little bit sometimes, but we all know that. We all know and love that about him. But I do want to throw a little shade since I've got the platform here. One of my great teammates and personal best friend, T Chambers, he did abysmally and lost almost every single match with the deck.
Let's go.
And I just want to give a shout out to him for how awful an Eternal player he is. Great person, great rider, but terrible Eternal player. I'm joking. He's good, but I just want to throw some shade while I can.
We'll have him on next week so he can do a rebuttal, and just let know. So, but yeah, so this is a deck. We're going to do a quick play portion with this in a little bit. So let's move on to our sign-off shout-outs and where to find us. Bassoon, actually, Monstrum, you take it away. Where can they find you on Twitter, your Eternal stuff, on YouTube, all that? Just go for it.
Yeah, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, I tweet random nonsense most of the time, but I post like movie reviews and all sorts of weird stuff on there. I'm at Jared D Pool, very simple username, my name. And then also definitely check out my YouTube, I Am Monstrum channel. I post Eternal stuff on there. I'm trying to aim for once a week. Roughly. I'll probably have something up in the next couple days. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do with it yet, but there'll be something in the next couple days. And then also, I want to give a huge shout out, of course, for the just audio listeners. I was showing off my Team Rankstar jersey. I want to give a big shout out to my teammates and all that fun jazz for all the hard work and stuff they do, and has definitely made me a better player. And then lastly, but of course not least, I want to give a big shout out to one of our sponsors, Inked Gaming, for all their support. Use the code TRS12, get some money off your order. So yeah,
awesome. Bassoon, what about you?
You can follow me on Twitter at HumanVenipede. I'm keeping the handle till the day I die. It's the best handle on the website. Mm-hmm. You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/BassonBuffoon. Maybe Cuss 3 Fridays coming to a stream near you. We were just talking about it in the pre-show about maybe I'm going to start doing that. Make sure to go search The Eternal Struggle on YouTube and go talk just crazy shit in their comments and like their terrible video.
For me, you can find me on Twitter at WhatTheDeckHS. Also in our Discord, From the Void Podcast. So if you go to our website, FromTheVoidPodcast.com, there's a link that will take you to our Discord. And also on the podcast is all our past episodes in YouTube form. But also go to our YouTube channel, From the Void Podcast, and subscribe, like, all that stuff. All right, this is the show this week. We thank you for watching. We will be back next week from the Void. Later, everyone.
Now we're in the After Dark from the Void.
After show.
Baby.
Is this where I start cursing immensely?
No, this is going up on the YouTube now. So that's the audio portion of the show is over. So now this is where you get your sexy outfit on and really just ham it up for the YouTube guys.
Show off the hot.
Okay, let's. We're gonna play so the way we do this at the end of the episode is we play 3 games with the deck of the week. and we've never gone 3-0. So, and if you are worried about your ranked points and you don't want to play it, then I will pilot it. So it's up to you.
I don't care about my rank points. I mean, I care to some extent, but like, I'm not gonna freak out. So.
Okay. All right. So if you want to queue up, and then we'll get to watching you.
I am bringing my client up right now. And then...
All right, I'm jumping into a game.
Oh, here we go. What just happened?
And just to mess with everyone on Reddit, I'm gonna wait extra long in my first turn. So.
Oh, you drive me insane. Nothing makes me rage on my stream harder than people who make me wait.
It's one of those things. It's like I was having a discussion with GHP in our team chat, and for me, I think people sometimes spend way too much time on their first turn. But he does make a valid point that like the first turn is very, very important. So I think this hand is fine. So I'm gonna keep it. So let me know if I'm good to go or not.
Oh, you're already in the game, so I am.
How is your Eternal client still not open?
Because had to do an update. Okay, there was like this little small update that happened this morning.
Oh, so you just don't play the game enough, is what I mean.
I didn't open it up this morning until I accepted.
So you weren't prepared?
I wasn't prepared. No.
Wow.
No. There you go.
Fired.
You start a hashtag. Get rid of Navillus.
I have fired Navillus. I'm absorbing the eternal struggle, and they have entered the void.
All right, we are good now.
All right, sweet.
Sorry about all that.
And do you want me to like talk through plays and stuff like that, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can do. We can just talk and everything. You know, if you do bad play, we'll be like, "What the heck was that for?" You know.
Yeah,
it's a bummer you can't play your champion of Fury this turn.
Yeah, that is kind of disappointing as well. But
it's weird. I think Seed of Fury might have been the best top deck in the game that turn.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing. That's kind of actually what I was kind of hoping for. That's one thing I've noticed when playing this deck is. Sometimes you actually want to leave your basic sigils.
What a turn. What a turn you're about
beautiful.
To have.
This is beautiful.
So much burn. But sometimes you actually want to save your basic sigils in hand till the end to make sure if you top deck a seat that you can play it undepleted.
Your deck is fine on 3 power. You don't need it.
No, I need it.
What? You're keeping that? Look at your hand.
I want the another blue source.
You're insane, dog. You don't need a second blue source for what?
Chunk.
Oh my god, you draw the one you draw if the next card in your deck is Chunk, then you're fine. But any other card in your deck, I'm mad at you.
Leah,
you would rather have drawn oh my god!
Double torch!
Okay, now I'm getting punished.
Too mad. We have 2 torches in our hand.
Oh, rip.
Well, this is a good example for the children watching. The signal flare in our hand now, like our torch, we would have to double torch that sometimes, which is insane.
Yeah. Let's see what we draw here. Oh, yeah. Oh. I should have bought him that power. I regret my life.
At least we can scout here, Ed.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that. Oh my word!
I'll definitely put that one to the bottom.
Okay, so in this instance, it obviously would have been right to bottom the seat, but I think on average, it is better to have. I think once you hit 3 power, 2 fire, 1 primal, I think you're set.
Do you think they have a finest hour here?
I think you got to make them have the finest hour here. Although you have enough power in your hand, you don't need to torch end of turn, right?
Yeah, so I think we just let it. Kind of want to see if they have a pause here. They do.
Okay. They either have another torch or finest hour.
I feel pretty confident it's the finest hour.
They're going to play a finest hour, and you're going to torch, and then they're going to reinvigorate, and you're just going to get dunked on.
That will be definitely wild.
Liz, I've streamed this game enough to know how I'm gonna lose.
Or they have like double finest hour. Wow, they actually did nothing there.
It'll get the job done, guaranteed.
Saying now that they're tapped out, I want to torch the torch it now.
I agree with you, and that was waiting until they had no power up. I think is dear listener who wanted to learn how to play aggro better. That oh my god,
my word.
Jesus.
So
I definitely
we've seen 7 power in the top 63 or in the top 12 cards of our deck.
Yeah. Definitely a little bit unlucky there. The one thing that's nice though is once we hit 5 power, we do have multiple. We've got 3 different. What do you call it?
Like plays out of the market.
No. Well, yes, but the Shugo tactics. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Which used to be a power. This is insane.
Oh my word.
Yeah, exactly. Another power.
So, confession time, guys.
Mm-hmm.
When they announced all the tactics, I predicted on Twitter that Cabal Tactic was going to have to be nerfed. I thought Cabal Tactic was by far the best one.
I think Cabal Tactic is really good, but the problem
It's underplayed.
But the problem is there's not really a good shadow mid-range deck that really can utilize it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's Stone Scar, but that's not really too much of a deck. So
It's off meta for sure.
yeah.
I think you just have to like swing with the 2/1, play the Oni Ronin, and just hope they don't have any damage in their hand.
Yeah, that's
oh, they never played that Finest Hour, didn't they?
No.
Okay, you're dead.
Yeah, I've thought about maybe using it on. They have a torch here.
It was Torch the whole time? Well, if they have Torch, they should just torch your face.
I was gonna say they moused over the Oni Ronin, so let's see if I can make them get.
Let's see here.
Okay, Rampage. Okay.
And then they'll have Torch or Finest Hour, so.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot the 2 level on there.
Yeah.
We were behind.
Yes.
The dreams to going 3-0 are now dead.
Well, your hand wasn't bad until you drew like 5 power in a row, but you know.
Yeah, I should. Well, maybe I feel like I still like my decision to keep the power on top, but looking back on it, maybe I should have bottomed it to just find another unit.
The bottoming that 4th power in a deck like this, the only punish for it is if you draw like 2 chunks in a row right after.
Yeah.
You're gonna get the 4th power eventually. I think choosing to keep the 4th power is incorrect.
Now this is a good kind of a good spot to kind of show off the power of chunk here, or maybe not necessarily, but so in like this situation, I can either choose to pledge it, or just use one of my 3 power.
I would.
A little clunky, but I'm going to start off with the Seed of Fury here.
Yeah. I would not pledge it with this hand.
Yeah.
So, which one do you do next turn? Do you Dusk Raider or do you Champion of Fury?
Because they don't have something to deal with the Dusk Raider right now. I'm leaning toward Dusk Raider because that has the highest upside.
Yeah, I agree.
If they don't have an answer for it, it's way better. So,
question about Pledge. Do you think Pledge should be changed for like any time in the game instead of the first turn?
No, that's broken.
No, that would be too good.
Okay. I'm just questioning because I've heard that's mentioned. I'm like, I wasn't sure about it. I'm like,
yeah, I've heard people some say they should be able to play it like the turn they draw it. But the problem is that would just. I mean, why wouldn't you play then just a billion pledge unit?
Yeah. If they change pledge at all, which I think it's fine, but if they do change it, I like changing it to where you can pledge it on the first turn, or if you don't have any influence of that type.
Yeah, I think that seems kind of a more fair, balanced version of something like that. That could be possibly okay. But at the same time, I feel like too often people are playing a little too greedy decks, and I think they need to get punished for their mana bases being too greedy. So
Okay.
here,
This is the FGS aggro deck.
yeah, the Warhelm deck, which leads me to believe that I want to lead on Chunk here.
Yeah.
So we can at least stun the unit for a couple
There you
turns.
go.
I wonder if you don't swing first there, just in case they try and do something crazy, like block.
I mean, I
It's
guess
marginal.
Yeah, I think the problem is if they block and then they have a buff spell, I think you get blown out more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall if this deck plays any finest hours or not. I've seen mixtures.
I don't think so. I think it's because I think it's Warhelms, and they have ways to recur their units. But I'm trying to think here. Did I play any? No. All right, are we just gonna stun it again with Chunk?
Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to decide if I want to maybe go another Vadius and then Permafrost it.
I think you go Vadius, Snowcrest Yeti, and then you can chunk it next turn. They're not swinging through a Vadius and a Snowcrest Yeti. And if they do, you're winning the race.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that seems reasonable. I guess my only worry is they just gain a ton of life here, but
They'll if they play a Warhelm on this, they'll gain 7 life, which is bad, but you're doing more than that next turn.
yeah, that's fair.
Like this isn't that bad. The Tavrod's a terrible problem, but
Yeah.
but the 4 life is not a big deal.
Yeah, Tab God is definitely problematic. I'm just trying to think how I want to play around this here. I think we just play Chunk and done and just pass turn.
Yeah.
Play out the power because you could use it. Or do you think it's worth saving for the market?
I think you hold it until you have until you draw another power.
Okay. Yeah, because my only concern is I'd like to be able to, maybe I can turn on Vadius sooner, but
Yeah. Okay.
unfortunately big endurance units are problematic, which I kind of wish I had a ankle cutter right now.
Yeah.
Let's see if he gets anything.
Looks like nothing,
Okay.
which is good for us.
Let's see what he does here.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they have another unit or not. They do not. Oh, geez, another power.
I wonder I wonder if you just play Champion of Fury now and just start swinging. You'll do best case scenario you do 12 or you do 10 damage this turn, right? If they block the 2-1, which you might, now that you have 5 power up, you might spook them and get through with everything but the Snowcrest Yeti.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. I guess my only worry is if because they've got lifesteal units that this might be a kind of a waste.
Yeah, I mean we've got to play to win the game at some point though, right?
Yeah.
Did you say do we?
Do we? I was gonna say, do we permafrost the Hojo?
The Tavrod?
You know, you can't do the Tavrod. Oh my word.
Yeah.
Just because you don't want that life gain, because you're trying to, I don't know.
Hold the permafrost for one more turn.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess for Vara be more problematic. I have a bad feeling we're kind of losing this race.
We definitely are, but we've got to rip hot fire to win no matter what, right?
Yeah. Ugh.
That hurts.
Yep.
Okay.
This would be wild if the opponent doesn't actually attack with Hojin.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
I have no idea.
This matchup seems pretty abysmal.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of life gain and endurance units. So
Yeah, I think pretty much if you don't have ankle cutter, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah. All right. Top right, dog. We're done here.
Yeah, there's no way we get out of there. So this is what I like doing, is just showing off how great a deck is by losing a bunch.
Well, I mean, we just espoused this big lesson about like you can do lots of stuff right and still lose, right?
Yeah,
And I think we played not maybe not permafrosting the. Well, that's kind of results oriented.
yeah, it's just like it was. I didn't know if that was right or not. I'm just like,
In the reality where we permafrost the Hojan like 8 turns ago or whatever, they just play Vara, right?
yeah.
all right. What do you think about this hand?
This hand is okay, but it's a little clunky. I almost kind of want to redraw, but at the same time, this hand is fine.
You do have Scout that helps. The Signal Flare to help smooth things out per se.
I usually keep that, I think.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's definitely not anything I'm like super excited about. Ugh.
Do we just go Pyro Knight turn 1, or are you thinking about playing the standard?
I'm thinking of just playing the standard, but at the same, I don't know if I like any of these plays turn 1.
I would just play we kept it to play a turn 1 play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, put the Knight down, get pressure.
Wield the blade.
I don't. If we weren't planning to play the Pyro Knight turn 1, I'm not sure why we kept it.
You're sad.
If only one of these were a torch.
What idiot put Signal Flare in this deck? Jesus. What a
God.
bad deck.
Do you think it's worth... I don't think it's worth double signal flaring here.
I think you
just-
swing.
You think you swing?
Yeah, what if he blocks? Then you Signal Flare the teacher. He's an idiot.
That's fair.
How bad are weights, really? I mean, the
It's-
market is pretty bad.
Yeah, that's the only problem is the market. But we usually just draw cards, so it's not that big a deal. Play out a naked champ.
Oh, that's never good. His nimble numbles are just everywhere.
Getting all cold.
Take this. Now the real training begins.
Let's draw power. Ah. I always love that when teacher draws you a power. What? Oh, it's
Tokens, baby.
Oh, this is tokens. Interesting.
Do you want to get that torrential downpour? That 4-cost torrential downpour?
4-cost torrential downpour isn't the worst play that's ever happened.
Yeah, I think that's fairly reasonable here. I'm just trying to decide. The only downside to doing this turn is that it means I can't have double primal and double. I'm just trying to decide if I want primal.
Play
or...
the Diplo Seal for primal, because you're going to play the standard as a fire source, right?
Yeah, I see. The thing is, I'm thinking about possibly maybe saving it for later because the overwhelm is pretty useful in this matchup. But that's assuming we even get to that much power. So
yeah, I think that. I mean, you've played the deck more than I have. That seems optimistic to me.
yeah, to be honest, I don't think there's like a hugely great way about going about this at all.
We're getting rid of that 5-cost dad, right?
No, the quick draw is really good.
Even at 5?
Yes.
All right.
And we just... Yeah, because I mean, if you're not playing units, like the quick draw is one of the best ways you can get through this deck
Take this.
because it forces them to chump. Play another assembly line. Rip. I kind of just want to play a Shogun Scepter and pass.
And pass.
Yeah, because I think the problem here is that they've got too many chump blockers. I think the only way we'd get punished by that is if they have Obelisk.
Well, you're not punished by Obelisk next turn. They have 4 power-ups, so I think they might have a Torch.
Yeah, which that would punish playing it at all.
Yeah. I would swing with both the 4-2s, but I'm not you.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's not the best turn of events because it kind of makes the torrential downpour a little worse. Yeah, it's kind of weird seeing tokens back in the meta because that's actually how I made my claim to fame was tokens. Oh, this torrential downpour. Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, we're in business.
I'm not sure why they did nothing for a turn waiting for this to happen to them.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Ooh,
Hey.
I want that on top.
Yeah.
Now the argument is, do I want to play the standard or not?
I think you hold the standard, but you ace-base.
Yeah. 100%. And you get another Warcry on the Vadius. We're actually in a really good position against tokens, which is not something I can say too often in this matchup. Ooh, Heart of the Vault. Look, you got a Permafrost for that.
Okay.
Thinking we just Signal Flare the teacher down.
Yeah, I rip said no to playing the power, but if we had played the power last turn, we could have done all 3 things that we want to do this turn. So that's a punt by me.
Yeah, I would do Signal Flare, yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Oh.
Okay, here we go.
Now I guess the question is, do I want to play it out now? We've got a Signal Flare in our bin, which makes me want to play the standard.
Yeah, I mean, the Signal Flare is lethal. We can't play it next turn, but the Signal Flare is lethal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like we've got this one in the bag. As I say that, our opponent top decks like crazy. Gains a bunch of life.
Moonstar Vanguard, yeah. Moonstar Vanguard.
Those 4 Waystone Titans.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
God forbid.
Are we dead to rally next turn? No, because they're blockers, but...
I was going to say, we'll just chump block.
Okay, so the worst draw they could have in their deck is the Time Waystone. We're actually ruined if they play the Time Waystone.
I wouldn't say completely ruined. Because, to be honest, unless they play Rally here, that's the only way they actually threaten anything close to lethal. I don't think they're going to... They might attack here, but...
Boom,
Oh!
here.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Force our opponent to concede.
Alright, we did it. We've showcased the power of our brains and deck.
Yes. Well, that was our play portion, so thank you for sticking around for this from the show and everything. Thank you, Monstrum, for joining us this week. It was great to have you just chill, to talk, to learn more about aggro, so always good time. And once again, thank you, Bassoon, always for joining me. It's always good, man, to have you on and be here on the show. So, with that said, any last words before we cut this?
Nah.
I just want to say thanks for having me on. So I feel privileged and special.
No, I'm glad we got you because I was like, on Twitter. I was like, we gotta have Monstrum on. I'm like, I know he's a TeamRankstar member. I'm trying to reach out to those people. So, but thank you for being on. It's been good. So, we'll see you next week. Later,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.